She's 15? The SEALs laughed, until the teen Navy commander dropped 12 terrorists and saved the platoon. The desert night was cold and silent, broken only by the distant hum of wind sliding across the rocky hills. A Navy SEAL platoon moved carefully through the dark terrain, their night vision goggles glowing faint green as they advanced toward an abandoned communications outpost that had recently been taken over by a terrorist group. Intelligence reports said the enemy had fortified the small compound and were using it as a relay point to coordinate attacks across the region. The SEAL team had been sent in quietly to eliminate the threat before dawn. Lieutenant Mark Delaney led the 12-man platoon. Every operator under his command was experienced, disciplined, and highly trained. They had handled missions like this many times before. But tonight was different, because accompanying them was someone no one expected. Earlier that evening, before the mission briefing, the SEALs had gathered inside the base operations room while commanders reviewed satellite images and tactical maps. The door had opened quietly, and a teenage girl had walked in. At first, none of the SEALs even noticed her. She looked out of place among the armored soldiers and officers. She wore a dark tactical jacket and carried a small digital tablet under her arm. Then one of the operators looked up. Sir?" he said to the commanding officer. "I think someone's lost." Several SEALs chuckled. The girl didn't react. She simply walked to the front of the room and placed her tablet on the table. Lieutenant Delaney frowned slightly. "Who are you?" he asked. The girl looked around the room calmly. "My name is Commander Elena Carter," she said. The room went silent for a moment. Then several SEALs burst into laughter. "Commander?" one of them said. Another leaned back in his chair. "Kid, this isn't a school field trip." Someone else whispered loudly. "She's like 15. The girl didn't respond. Instead, she turned on the digital screen connected to her tablet. A map of the enemy compound appeared instantly. The commanding officer cleared his throat. "Gentlemen," he said calmly, "Commander Carter is here because she designed the drone surveillance system currently monitoring the compound." The laughter faded slightly. The general continued. "She will be coordinating aerial support during your mission." One of the SEALs raised an eyebrow. "She's 15?" he said. The general nodded. "Yes." Another operator leaned toward Delaney and whispered, "You gotta be kidding me." Elena ignored the whispers. She began pointing at the digital map. 12 hostiles inside the compound, she said calmly. She zoomed in to the satellite image. 4 here near the generator building. 3 on rooftop watch positions, the rest inside the main structure. Her voice remained steady. They rotate patrols every 9 minutes. The SEALs exchanged looks. The information was detailed. Very detailed. Thermal drones confirmed 2 heavy weapons mounted near the north wall. Approach from the west side. The terrain provides cover. Lieutenant Delaney watched her carefully. Despite the jokes from his team, the girl clearly knew exactly what she was talking about. Still, one of the operators leaned back again. "So you're our commander tonight?" he asked sarcastically. She looked directly at him. No, she said calmly. I'm the one who makes sure you don't walk into an ambush. The room went quiet again. 2 hours later, the SEAL platoon moved across the desert terrain toward the compound. Elena sat inside a mobile command vehicle miles away, monitoring the mission through multiple drone feeds displayed across her screens. Her fingers moved quickly across the keyboard, adjusting drone angles and tracking heat signatures moving inside the compound. Through the radio headset, she heard the SEALs approaching their final position. Team Alpha in position, Delaney whispered into his radio. Elena studied the thermal display. Something felt wrong. She zoomed in on the northern wall. Then her eyes narrowed. There were more heat signatures than before. Lieutenant Delaney, she said calmly into the radio. Go ahead, he replied quietly. There are 12 targets confirmed earlier. Correction now. She paused. 15. The SEALs froze behind their rocky cover. Delaney frowned. Intel said 12. Elena capped the keyboard again. One of the drone cameras shifted position. 3 armed men stepped out of a hidden tunnel entrance near the back of the compound. They arrived 10 minutes ago. The SEALs exchanged quick glances. An unexpected patrol could ruin the entire operation. Delaney whispered into the radio. Options? Elena analyzed the layout quickly. If the SEALs continued with the original approach route, they would walk straight into the patrol's line of sight. She spoke calmly. Change approach angle 20 degrees south. That keeps you behind the supply wall. Delaney hesitated only for a second. Copy. The team shifted quietly through the rocks. Minutes later, they reached the new position. But just as they prepared to move again, Elena noticed something else. 2 additional heat signatures appeared on the rooftop. That made 17. She leaned closer to the screen. Then suddenly alarms flashed across one of the drone monitors. A terrorist lookout had spotted movement near the rocks. Heads up, she said instantly. You've been spotted. Gunfire erupted across the compound. Bullets slammed into the rocks around the SEAL team. The terrorists began shouting and running toward the western side. Delaney cursed under his breath. Ambush. The SEALs returned fire immediately, but the enemy had height advantage from the rooftop. Inside the command vehicle, Elena's eyes moved rapidly across the screens. The situation was collapsing fast. If the terrorists surrounded the SEAL team, the platoon could be wiped out. She zoomed the drone camera further out. Another group of enemies were running toward the south gate. She counted quickly. 12 moving toward the platoon. She grabbed the radio. Delaney, she said. Listen carefully. We're pinned. I know. She studied the compound layout again. Then she saw it. The generator building. Fuel tanks. And the drone missile control panel. Her fingers moved instantly across the keyboard. The drone armed its precision missile. Delaney, she said calmly. Pull your team back 10 meters. Why? Just do it. The SEALs trusted their command channel. Delaney shouted orders. The team pulled back behind the rocks. Seconds later, Elena fired the missile. The drone launched a single precision strike. The missile streaked through the night sky and slammed directly into the generator building. The explosion lit the desert like daylight. The blast knocked down half the compound wall and sent several terrorists flying. Inside the command vehicle, Elena's eyes immediately switched to the second drone. 3 more enemies ran toward the remaining rooftop position. She tracked them carefully, then fired again. Another explosion,